Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, Republicans got their supermajority back in the Wisconsin State Senate on Tuesday, which was a silver lining in an otherwise disappointing election night for Republicans. We discussed this in the last video. However, not only do they have the supermajority in the Wisconsin state legislature, they also, this week, got a veto-proof majority in the North Carolina state legislature, which means they will be able to block pretty much everything that Democrat Governor Roy Cooper wants to get through. And on top of that, they will basically be able to legislate from the state legislature without the governor getting involved. Roy Cooper is indeed a lame duck right now, thanks to the North Carolina GOP, and it's only going to get worse from this point forward for the North Carolina Democrats, given the fact that they lost control of the state court that was very tough in favor of the Democrats on redistricting, and they lost the court back in the 2022 midterms, another silver lining of another disappointing night for Republicans. So we are going to dive into this because it is very important and it could be very consequential, and it also could have impacts in the state ahead of 2024 as well as after 2024. But first, I have to tell you guys about our good friends over at Noble Gold. The second largest and third largest bank failures in history happened last month. The government is taking steps to guarantee all deposits, which means more money printing. Thousands have approached Noble Gold Investments to secure their wealth with gold. Gold is the most stable asset outside of government control, so hurry and go to noblegoldinvestments.com to secure your wealth. Bag a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin if you qualify. noblegoldinvestments.com. Again, that is noblegoldinvestments.com. So, you had a state legislator of the Democrat Party who was fairly, I guess you would say, a disaffected, kind of moderate Democrat to a certain extent. Her record's kind of mixed, but it's very evident that now if she's switching parties, she's probably going to be voting much more in line with the GOP. And this is true. Her district is, for right now, a Democrat-leaning district. It's like Biden plus 20 or something like that. However, after potential redistricting, that very well could change. And obviously, you could say she's grifting. She might not mean it. She's doing it for political reasons. Whatever, doesn't matter. Still a net positive here. Still gives you a supermajority. And we'll see how she votes. But either way, if we're going to assume that she's voting just a little bit more in favor with the GOP after this, and she's probably going to have to, given a whole new base of donors that she's going to have to appeal to, well, guess what? That means that you have your supermajority, and you will be able to block much more of Governor Roy Cooper's agenda there. So Republicans have a veto-proof majority control of both houses. They could override vetoes if they want. Look at the House of Representatives right here. They hold 72 out of the 120 seats right there. They have their 60% there. And now in the Senate, they have 30 state senators. And this is huge news right here. Another state where Republicans have control over. It's like, yeah, they lose control here. You see it more positive news. They're gaining control in North Carolina. Definitely a more ancestrally Republican state. Republicans there didn't do too badly in the midterms, and they flipped the state court, which was huge. But it also shows that in these Rust Belt places, Republicans still need to get their act together, and they're falling behind the Republican parties in some of these Rust Belts. And even you look at Virginia, which is not a Republican state anymore. Glenn Youngkin, even among independent voters in Virginia, has an approval rating that's close to like 60%. If that holds, and he's fundraising, which he is, and he's on the campaign trail to retake the state Senate and hold the state House, then you're going to see essentially total Republican control in a Biden plus 10 state in the state of Virginia. And now you're looking at North Carolina, where you're going to see a very similar thing. We'll talk about the 2024 gubernatorial race in a minute because it does tie into this. But You're seeing control. You're seeing a lame duck Democrat state official. And on top of that, you got to look at the 2022 results here. Ted Budd obviously won over Cherry Beasley by 3 to 4 percentage points. But you look down ballot and you look at these Supreme Court races, incumbent Democrats losing, Republicans taking these open seats that were up for grabs. What does that mean? It means redistricting will be in their control. And you look at all of these congressional races, they're going to be able to redraw the map in their favor. And some people will say, well, you can't do that. It's like, of course they can. Look at these Democrat states like Illinois, Connecticut, Maryland, all of these states where the Democrats have control. They are gerrymandering the map in their favor. It's only fair that Republicans take control and they do the same thing in their states. And you're seeing that right here, where in the midterms, Dems have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You look at the wins they were able to get. They were able to get 7 out of the 14 seats, despite not getting a majority of the vote, despite not even having proper geography in the state of North Carolina. That map very well could be 9 to 4, even 10 to 3, if the Republicans have some guts and actually go out there and do their job. And I think the court will uphold a more Republican favorable map now, not just for the congressional races, but also for the state Senate and also for the state House, which is going to solidify that supermajority over the rest of the decade, which would be absolutely huge. Now, North Carolina as a state isn't really a state that we've talked about too much on this channel in depth, despite it being kind of a swing state. It's a state that has a much greater non-college educated white population than a state like Georgia, for example, even though both states are kind of growing. I compare North Carolina to a reverse Michigan, Michigan being a state that, on a fluky year, Republicans can win it. It's always going to be close, but the state party is very incompetent there. And I think you see the inverse with North Carolina. And it's a very good thing that you're seeing these changes, and Republicans were able to persuade this state senator in North Carolina to switch parties. So you have that veto-proof majority. You have that supermajority there. Tricia Cotham, a Democrat from Mecklenburg County, is joining the North Carolina Republican Party. She says it's not the party it once was. She's saying it wants to villainize anybody who dissents or whatever, who wants to better the state, etc. Doesn't really exactly matter there. What we do know is that you look at it and the Republicans have their veto-proof majority. And it's a state representative, not a state senator, but still they're able to gain enough control for both of these state houses to become on the side of the Republicans right there, which is huge. And furthermore, I think it's important that we touch on the gubernatorial election as well. Roy Cooper is term limited. In 2020, he won by 4.5 points. This is a state that likes to split their tickets, although it's not necessarily like Republicans can't win the governorship. 2016, they came very close. Pat McCrory, not super popular. There was a large third party. Roy Cooper, probably the best Democrat that could run for that seat at the time. You look at McCrory in 2012, he was able to win. He was able to win by 11 percentage points that election cycle, running up against a weak Democrat. So we're going to fast forward to 2024. And this is a race that's winnable for Republicans. Josh Stein is the current attorney general. Democrats are probably going to roll with him. He's getting the endorsements of a lot of Congress people, and it's possible you might see another candidate jump in the race, but realistically speaking, they're not going to be the nominee. Josh Stein is in this race. I'd say there's a 90+% chance that the field is already cleared, which is something the Republicans need to do. Avoid these contested, divisive primaries. It's a major problem, and hopefully they'll do so in North Carolina, and hopefully they'll do so by nominating Mark Robinson for governor, and I think that they will. He's the lieutenant governor. That guy is awesome, and people will say he's too controversial, he's too far right, whatever, and it's like, those controversies existed his entire political career, and he still won in 2020, outperformed Trump by 2 to 3 points on the same exact ticket, and he has only gained political clout and connections ever since. And is it a guarantee that he wins if nominated? No, because North Carolina does like to split their tickets from time to time. But of the people in the race, Do I think that he has a chance to win? Absolutely. I think that if anything, you could even say it's 50-50 going down the stretch. Really kind of does depend on turnout, the national environment. What is the presidential race looking like there? But Mark Robinson, he's somebody who can go to the black churches and talk about two genders, nothing but two genders, as he said in that infamous clip. And then he can go to another interest group and he could talk about certain economic reform. And then he could go to another interest group and talk about another issue. He's not just a one-trick pony. He's somebody who is a very skilled politician, good on election integrity, but doesn't overdo the 2020 stuff either to the point where it would doom him. So all around, a decent candidate, a very good candidate. Hopefully Mark Walker doesn't jump in the race. You don't want to see a divided primary. And down the stretch, we'll see what happens. But I think Mark Robinson, as of right now, yeah, I'd say there's a 50% plus one chance of him becoming the next governor of North Carolina. And hopefully from there, maybe 2028, 2032, he'll be on the short list for either VP or potential presidential aspirations as well. But we'll see. We're a long ways away from that. You got to get him in there first. You don't want to count your chickens before they hatch. But what I will say is that it's better if the field is cleared, and he's a very solid candidate. And right now, Republicans have a veto-proof control of North Carolina in both the House and the Senate because you had a state representative switch parties. So very, very good news there. And hopefully more good news will continue. Hopefully you could use this as momentum down the stretch to see what happens. There's elections later this year in Kentucky, Mississippi, Louisiana, and in Virginia for the state legislature. Hopefully you can get a little bit of revenge for the midterms and for Wisconsin ahead of 2024, build up a little bit more electoral momentum. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.